Get through the schedule with one loss and maybe even two, and we'll see you in the playoff, Georgia. Our schedule analysis next on Mark Rogers TV, the voice of college football. All right, we're talking up the dogs here at Mark Rogers TV, the voice of college football. Our schedule analysis brings us to the second most difficult schedule in all of college football as we rank the schedules here every offseason, 70 all the way up to number 1, all the Power 5 schedules, the major independents included. Please help us build the channel. Keep us going by grabbing the Amazon link in the description section below. Do your regular Amazon shopping, or if somebody else in the household does the shopping, get them the link and help us build the channel and keep it going. We bring you college football analysis every day. It doesn't matter if it's February, May, the middle of the season, every day, all the time, college football analysis right here at Mark Rogers TV, the voice of college football. All right, let's talk some Georgia football. They open in SEC play at Vandy. All right, so that's a probable win, of course. Then they go to Murray State, and they take on Murray State at home in Athens September 7th. Arkansas State is the next opponent September 14th, so they should be 3-0 before they face Notre Dame at home in Athens. This the second of the two-game series that was signed a few years ago. And, of course, the Bulldogs went to South Bend, and they brought Bulldog Nation with them to take on the Fighting Irish and win that game 20-19 en route to a national championship game appearance and the SEC championship as well. And this was certainly key in doing so with a one-loss season. So Georgia then has the bye week, the last weekend of September, to prepare for a critical SEC run that takes them to Knoxville and Tennessee October 5th, date against South Carolina on October 12th, and then Kentucky, a team that matched up with Georgia for division dominance last year, and Georgia wiped the rug with them at the Commonwealth Stadium late sometime in October, November, and this time the Wildcats and the Bulldogs get together October 19th. All right. The second of two bye weeks is placed in a rather beneficial position for the Bulldogs as they get that on October 26th, just in time to take on Florida in Jacksonville. And, of course, the Bulldogs had their way with the Gators in the fourth quarter, a very close game, a one-point game into the fourth quarter last year against Florida, and Georgia put it on them 36-17. And then the stretch drive includes November 9th against Missouri, November 16th, the South's oldest rivalry at Auburn, before a closing run against Texas A&M. That's the final SEC game, as most of the SEC Eastern Division teams follow it with that rivalry game against the ACC, Florida, Florida State, Georgia, Georgia Tech, Louisville, Kentucky, and, of course, Clemson and South Carolina. So for the Bulldogs, it's the date against Georgia Tech in Atlanta, as they have dominated this series pretty much since the beginning of time, but certainly over the last 2 or 3 decades against Georgia Tech. But it makes for a very difficult closing run after the opening date on October 26th when you think about Florida, Missouri, Auburn on the road, Texas A&M, and Georgia Tech on the road. 5 quality opponents, especially Florida and Auburn, and also Texas A&M. A difficult stretch drive for the Georgia Bulldogs after the date against Notre Dame, September 21st, highlights the first half of the schedule. This is the second most difficult schedule in all of college football. It's number 2 in the SEC as well. It belongs to Georgia. Why? Notre Dame out of conference, and then a very difficult stretch in the SEC, which includes Texas A&M and Auburn in the SEC Western Division, and the SEC East is certainly better than a lot of people think it is, with the likes of Kentucky, South Carolina, Vandy, Tennessee, and Missouri. So you've got no easy teams in that division, no great teams besides Georgia, unless Florida jumps up and backs up its top 10 finish from 2018. The second most difficult schedule in college football is number 2 in the SEC as well. It belongs to the Bulldogs, and our spring projection for Georgia football was 10-2, 6-2 in the SEC. You heard it here first. We will be back later in August to give you our final prediction analysis, but right now, again, this is our prediction and projection of everybody's record back in April. want to hear your record projection for Georgia football right here at Mark Rogers TV, the voice of college football. And we'll be back with the number one schedule in all of college football, the toughest slate anyone has to face, next.